He won't practice. That's all we got.
What happened in the game?
It's just wear and tear. It's just still sore.
I had a question about when to pull or rest starters. I asked because I think Warner played every snap. Christian had like 3 carries when you're up 20 midway through the fourth quarter, and Bosa got at least 1 snap with like 3 minutes to go, and you're up 23. And so I guess it would be easy to say get him out of there. They get hurt. Why? What's your philosophy on that? And is it tough to figure out when to do it?
Yeah, you pull guys when you think the game's over, and you do that off of experience, and we don't think the game's over when it's at that point. Now, at sometime in that drive, because it took so long, it was. We debated whether to take him out before that drive or not. We'd been in that situation before. We decided not to. We kept Bosa out just for a 3rd down, but it ended up going longer, and we don't want to pull him out in the middle of it, so we kept that drive, but that was the last drive of the game. We decided that before it just went long.
You think Bosa is going to stop?
No, just he helps us get him off on 3rd down, so we thought he could at least do a 3rd down and end that drive pretty quick. But we didn't.
How much did that week 1 experience in Detroit a couple years ago kind of shape the way you view that?
That's huge. I mean, that happened to us personally. It was, I think, 41-17 with 1:58 left. And they had the ball with 17 seconds, 20 yards away, down 7 points. So, that's a lot more than that was. And it's not just, that's a personal situation, but I see it happen a lot of places.
The way you guys use your nickelbacks or your nickel defense with Lenore first being that guy and then later Oliver, was that something that was pre-planned, or did the circumstances in the game dictate the change?
Things dictate the change. We thought they'd all play in the game, but stuff happened in the game that has us adjust.
Such as?
Stuff that's between me and our team. Just watch the film, you might be able to figure it out. Stuff I can't say, sorry.
In terms of like a divisional opponent, I usually know these guys really well. Just kind of looking at the Rams roster, is there a lot of unfamiliarity there with them being such a young?
We have such a history, and just with the coaching staffs being similar for so long and the players being similar for so long. So, there's a lot of new guys out there, them playing in one game and, trying to figure out some of their new players that you don't have a history with. But once you turn on the tape and try to see it, you don't know some of the guys, but you definitely know 99 and you know the quarterback. And then you watch the schemes and nothing's really different. It's 2 really good schemes on both sides of the ball and 2 great players, and looks very similar, and that's the result was very similar to what they've had in the past.
Brock made a few plays with his feet on Sunday, including that 17-yarder right up the middle. Is that an aspect of him that is surprising to you? Did you foresee that when you were drafting him, that he'd be able to make as many plays with his feet as he has?
You never know at the next level, but that's how he played in college. He did it a lot, and I think one of his first games he had his own read play for like 60 yards or something. So Brock's always had a knack for making plays with his feet. He has the quickness to do it. You never know how to equate at this level, but looked that way in practice and stuff, and he's carried it over to games.
How much of his success is a product of the fact that he's a lot more experienced than most quarterbacks his age?
I don't know. It's how do you play quarterback at a high level? Where does that come from? Sometimes experience, sometimes because you're just good at it, but he's playing at a high level because he's good at quarterback.
When you go out and put a performance like that in week 1, is there a need on your part to kind of, all right, now we got to bring them back down a little bit, because they played so well, or is this such a veteran group that they kind of police that themselves?
Usually it's off the tape, and the tape to me wasn't totally what everyone thinks. There's lots of it wasn't our best performance. It's there's a lot of things in there that could have gone a different way. A bunch. The way we ended at the second quarter, not scoring on offense, not running the clock out before you gave it back to them, giving up an 80-yard drive before half, giving up a 40-yarder on a 3rd and 1, possible touchdown on the 3rd play of the game. Fortunately, they missed it. They tried to come back to it like 4 times, but they got the wrong coverages then. There's lots of stuff that goes into it, but sometimes games just get away, and it got away real fast because we broke a 60-yarder on play 2 in the 3rd quarter, and after that it was pretty easy.
At Texas, you ever run on the backside 70 yards to block for Seth Benson, and
What'd you think of Ray there? I mean, it seemed like a culture play. Did you get a game ball? Did you talk to him about it?
I mean, I always tried to do that, but I was never fast enough. I could have maybe caught the slower fullback, but not Cedric. That was awesome by Ray. It was awesome by BA. It was awesome by. We didn't give a game ball for it because that's what we expect. I feel like that's what those guys do every play. Those guys run hard every play. It just happened that Christian broke one, and they would be put in the spotlight as lead blocker. So it looks really cool. It was really cool, but I feel like that's what those guys try to do every play.
What did you make of Diamondor Lenore's game? I know he had 10 tackles, but he had that rough drive, at the end of the first half. How did you think he did?
I thought he had a good game. He had that personal foul on the sidelines, and then I didn't totally see it the same way with the defensive holding that he got down there. But I thought he had a solid first game, playing inside and outside, and good start to the season.
What do you think of Havanga's decision to try to lateral interception?
Not great because he didn't lateral it. I also thought the guy in front of him, he could have just ran around because I think he was faster than him. But, it was a good setup for the option, right attitude, if the guy was behind him. I didn't think it was that smart of a play.
What's the most challenging part of facing a Sean McVay-led team?
Of a what?
Of a Sean McVay-led team.
Just Aaron Donald being on it would be the number one thing. But, they got some really good players, but they're always going to be sound. They're always going to have a good scheme. They're always going to put their players in good positions. Starting with the offense, which is where it starts with Sean, but it's been no different with the defense and special teams either. Those guys are always coached up well. They're ready to go, and they know how to put their really good players in real good situations.
What kind of Stafford's performance week one without Cooper out there?
As good as it can be. That was evident why they played so well, and he looked like Matt Stafford, which is one of the best quarterbacks to play over the last couple decades.
On the strip sack from T.J. Watt, after that play, you came back to the bench and looked like you imparted something to Brock. It just kind of looked like a one-way conversation. Do you remember what you shared with him right there?
Yeah, just coaching on when we don't get what we expect. And we did get what the second thing we expect. It was just taking too long. And Brock was waiting on it. He saw it all right, and could have been a big play. We just didn't have the time for it. And I told Brock, my last thing I want to do is put you in that situation. I thought we'd be able to get rid of it quicker. But when you can't wait on it for that long. Sometimes you just got to tuck it away and take the sack because we didn't have time to wait on the look.
So much was made this offseason, the value of running backs. Obviously, you have always valued that position. Your dad did as well. And can you remember how and why that position has always been so important to what you do?
I think it's important to almost what everybody does. I think it's really hard to win in this league without a good running game. You can have a good running game by having all 11 people dedicate to it and be real good at it, but you really don't make a difference until you got a difference maker back there. I always think, we've always committed to the run regardless who's back there. I think I know my dad did that in his career, but when you look at when teams have really won, I think my dad had one really good one, and those are the years he won Super Bowls. And when you look at our success here, our Super Bowl run, the way Raheem did that in the playoffs, our next championship deal game, the way Debo and Elijah were running at the end of that year, and then last year the combination of Christian, Elijah, mixing in Debo, to me is why you go on a 12-game win streak. So regardless of who your running backs are, you're going to always, I believe in always committing to it because that's what makes a football team good. But when you have a difference maker back there, it's a huge difference.
How much time did you spend in recent drafts looking at Atwell and Nakua, and what are their qualities? What kind of the complement of them? What does it present for defense?
Looked at him a lot in college. Tutu is as fast as anyone. He's one of those premier play action, top level guys. That everyone in this type of offense, ours, theirs, play action offense, they really want a guy like that. You can tell that's why they took him. He's premier at that. When you look at Nakua, he's a very tough physical football player. Reminds me a lot of Juwan. He's going to get after it on every play. The game's not too big for him, and when you can put those guys in the right spots and you got a quarterback like they do, it can be pretty lethal.
Going back to the Detroit game where they almost came back, did you have another similar experience during your career, something like that, where it's like, the game's over and it's like, oh crap?
Yeah, I've watched guys take I mean, that was the biggest one. That was like never again, because we took a lot of people out, and I still can't believe how that happened. I've had to go back and keep watching it because it doesn't sound believable, but it is. But to me in particular, I've seen things get out of hand and close, but nothing as scary as that Detroit one. But it's something I always watch around the league. We see it. Stuff happens fast, and you just go 3 and out, and that clock's different. Now, when they went on that long, we were trying to do it then. We thought we could stop on 3 and out, and they went longer, so it was different. But I don't have a specific one for you, but it's something you got to be aware of.
You ever think in your head, like, I'm being too paranoid? Like, the game is over. Come on, Kyle. The game is over.
Yeah, you should get a soundtrack to our headsets. That's all we're talking about. Trust me, we want guys out of there. We want to go put them in bubble wrap and wait them for next week. But once you start to go there, bad things happen a lot. So, yeah, we wish we could have gone there sooner, but we didn't.
Kyle, with regards to starting 2 games on the road, is there any positives or benefits that you can take team building off the field, and then if you can get 2 road wins to start how that kind of like jumpstarts your year? Yeah,
I mean, I think it's team building stuff when we go. We've sometimes stayed a week away in these times. We haven't done that this year. But I think when you start on the road, and if you can start out 2-0, there's only so many road games, and you'd always rather than be at home. So when you have that good record to start, it's just more momentum going forward. All right, thanks, guys.